gotta record this quick. Alright, I have it at the microphone so I need to see if it's on, because, yeah, I rarely use OBS. So, yeah, you saw me uploading 3 different reactions. I really have to upload those before the end of the month. So, for today's episode, let's talk about movies in general. What else is there? And there will be a time where an actor will make a movie for some odd reason. Granted, some movies are bad. But, certainly actors, they do it, and once they see it, they just want to. Point is, there are so many movies that are bad that, it's not only despised by critics or audiences, depending on which this is. Most of the time, it's always on bad movies, but even the directors and actors hate them. The actors the most, where they're like, I really wish I didn't do that, because I think one of them that was popular, it was Robert Pattinson, I think, who said he really did not like working on the Twilight films, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he only did those films just so he could, have something on his resume. I mean, it's like, he was already Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter 4, I know, but it's like, yeah, that was a weird era. Actually, every actor who's been a part of Twilight has wanted to distance themselves from the series. Like, Kristen Stewart, she really took a bit of a back seat, and just decided, yeah, I'm just gonna do smaller projects, and she mostly works in that. Point is that the thumbnails of this video here from WatchMojo.com, top 20 actors who hate their own movies. They did a video like this. It was a top 10, like, almost 5 years ago. And, yeah, I really got nothing left to add. Although, there are some times where even there's a good movie where even the actor hates it. I'm pretty sure it's gonna pop up here, because I remember in that other video Watch Mojo did, they mentioned that Woody Allen really did not like the final cut of Manhattan. And Woody Allen was like telling United Artists, guys, let me just do another film. The movie just does not look good. Like, Woody Allen has wanted to distance himself from the movie Manhattan. I personally enjoy it. It's somewhere along my top 5 Woody Allen movies. That was like if I think about it correctly, what are my top 5? I know number 1 is Match Point. Then number 2 is Annie Hall. Then number 3 is, I think, Vicky Cristina Barcelona. I am not sure. No, I think number 3 is Blue Jasmine. Then number 4, Hannah and Her Sisters. Then number 5, Manhattan. Point is, my favorite Woody Allen movies are always mixed in together. I do know Match Point is my favorite movie that he's ever directed, because it's like, Woody Allen does sometimes dabble in drama, but that was like the first one where I think it was like he was trying to really, not just be stuck in doing dry humor comedies. But yeah, another one was, I think, Edward Norton for Italian Job, although the Italian Job remake is one of the better remakes in recent history, at least from the 2000s. Sure, the Michael Caine one technically is better, but most people remember the Italian Job 2003 remake. Check this video out, because I probably have nothing left to add. Let's have the good old folks at Watch Mojo speak.
I'm sorry.
I remember this Catwoman. I remember Halle Berry's Razzie acceptance speech. She hates this movie so much because, oh god, this is probably, for me, in my opinion, Catwoman is like probably the worst DC movie ever, the worst DC Comics film ever. It is so bad it makes Batman and Robin look like a masterpiece, but it's like, at least Batman and Robin is enjoyably bad. It's enjoyable for how bad the movie was, how they could have made a movie even. Long story.
What was that? Allergies? Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 actors who hate their own movies.
Why are they still going to high school? In high school, like up until.
Oh shit. Yeah, 720.
The last year doesn't. They're 100 years old.
We're just here to use the bathroom. And then we're just gonna leave. No, this is just a bad dream. I'm going to close my eyes.
The Bill Murray one, I fell victim to that. Because when I was a kid, I did think, as I was growing older, I started getting more familiar. Around age 12, 14 is where I started getting more familiar with filmmakers. Let me close the door so my mom doesn't have to hear my, pointless, chattiness. Borderline annoying jabber jaw talking. I actually did think that Joel Cohen of the Coen brothers was one of the screenwriters, but I found out it was Joel Cohen with an H. Just to give you an example, I hate that I'm going to type this, that's going to be on my search history. Garfield 2004. I'm sorry, the internet does this with me every time. That the page is slow as hell sometimes. Now it's loading. I'll just pause. Site can't be reached. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, I think I've got an issue with the internet. Or something, I don't know. Well, it'll pop up later. Let's just try and... Well, damn it. I have no internet. Just when things couldn't possibly get any worse. This happens. Well, thank God I had solitaire on my laptop waiting for the... Yeah, let's officially continue with the video. Sorry. Alright, just to show you what one of the co-screenwriters of this movie, see what they've written. Alright. Joel Cohen with an H. And the other one, Alex Sokolow. Alex Sokolow. I gotta really look this up. I hate that I'm doing this. Alright. So they wrote the first Toy Story, but that was written by lots of other people. After that, they wrote Money Talks, Keeper by the Dozen. They did both Garfield movies. They did Evan Almighty and Daddy Day Camp. At least that's the Joel Cohen one. Yeah, and then ever since then they've done something like Last Godfather. Yeah, I can't now with this. I am utterly hopeless. I have lost all hope.
And when I open them, everything will be back to normal.
For this list, we're looking at actors who have reportedly publicly voiced their dislike for a film in which they starred, expressed regret about taking a certain role, or outright criticized their own film. Which actor were you surprised to see on this list? Let us know in the comments below.
Ryan Reynolds, I am not surprised to see, because Ryan Reynolds has said how much he did not like working. Not only that, from what I now know, Martin Campbell actually hated working on the movie. The director of the film hated working on Green Lantern because, from what I know, that Martin Campbell wanted Bradley Cooper for the main lead of Hal Jordan, but the studio wanted Ryan Reynolds since they thought Reynolds was probably a more bankable actor. And I mean, knowing that, you can kind of see how much they did not enjoy working with each other. So it's like, yeah.
Below. Number 20, Christopher Plummer, The Sound of Music. It may be considered one of the best musicals or really one of the best movies ever, but Christopher Plummer did not feel the same.
Congratulations, Max. Who will you be exploiting this time? Aha!
Over the years, the Oscar-winning actor did not look back fondly at his role as Captain Von Trapp, the head of the singing family in this musical drama.
Edelweiss, every morning you greet me.
Instead, he made remarks calling the film, quote, so awful and sentimental and gooey. He even went as far as to dub the movie The Sound of Mucus. Ouch.
Oh, how clumsy of me. I meant to accuse you.
He also avoided cast reunions for a while, though in 2010 he did come around and appeared with the full cast on The Oprah Winfrey Show.
But the best part is I got to stay in the hotel with Christopher Plummer.
I was an adult.
What room were you in?
Number 19, Charlize Theron, Reindeer Games.
Oh, really? I like Reindeer Games personally. I don't care what people say. But Charlize Theron made a movie even worse. Aeon Flux.
Maybe you saw me and I didn't.
Charlize Theron boasts a strong cinematic resume, having starred in such critically acclaimed films as Monster, Mad Max Fury Road, and the action-packed Atomic Blonde. Sadly, Reindeer Games cannot be counted among them, and Charlize Theron knows it.
There's no future for people like you and me, Nick.
When speaking with Esquire in 2007 about this crime thriller, released in 2000, and co-starring Ben Affleck, Theron didn't hold back, stating matter-of-factly that, quote, Reindeer Games was not a good movie, but that she did it because she loved John Frankenheimer. She also told the magazine that she considered it to be the worst film she'd made to date. Given that the film was a critical and commercial flop, Theron is not alone in having that opinion.
I'm in this too.
I enjoy Reindeer Games, so probably I'm in. Again, Aeon Flux is an even worse film.
And I'm really scared.
Number 18, Mark Wahlberg, The Happening.
Let's just stay ahead of the wind.
Every actor used to want to sign up for an M. Night Shyamalan movie in the hopes that it would have an amazing twist like The Sixth Sense. Unfortunately, these days, the twist is usually that the movie you're in might not be good.
Maybe he's onto something.
Still, we can't blame Marky Mark for taking this role. He played against type as a science teacher in the critically panned flick, which, it's worth pointing out, holds a 17% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Wahlberg has publicly stated that Amy Adams, quote, dodged a bullet by declining Zooey Deschanel's part.
I will say, I don't hate The Happening as much as most people. I just feel like it was wasted potential because the idea of something attacking, like hitting the human race and like, the human race is going away is an interesting idea, but this is like Shyamalan right after Lady in the Water, and he was still trying to figure out what he was trying to do. This was like, for me, in my opinion, the first not good Shyamalan film. Like, the fact that it was the trees doing it, I'm like, it would have been better if no one knew what it was. Like, if we interpreted what was going on. Was it was it toxic? I do not know. Like, I just would have preferred if the film was ambiguous to what was causing this, and if the film ended ambiguously. Showing Mark Wahlberg in one separate part of the house and Zooey Deschanel and that little girl in another part of the house. Also, the couple really did not work in this. Like, again, Shyamalan suffers from a bad case of tell don't show from these movies sometimes, and it's like, unfortunately, he lets the character say too much to the point where it's like, we already know this and they have to repeat it again. It's like, it would have been better if they just. I remember this film was mostly hyped because it was the first R-rated Shyamalan film. Yeah. I will say, though, I actually did enjoy the movie Old. I liked it better than Glass, at least. At least Old wasn't as disappointing as Glass was.
Are you joking?
SNL had a field day making fun of his role and came up with the now viral and superior Mark Wahlberg Talks to Animals sketch.
Hey dog, how's it going? I like your fur, that looks really great.
Yeah, I've tried finding this, but it's like SNL just took it off. Why? I need this.
So you're a dog, right? What's that all about?
Number 17, Michael Caine, Jaws, The Revenge.
This one is obvious, because from what I know, Michael Caine only did this movie for money.
Sweet Jesus, we're heading straight for it! Come about, Ellen!
Another true thespian, another serving of unabashed regret about taking a role in a genre film. Unlike Guinness, however, Sir Michael Caine has every reason to regret his involvement in the fourth Jaws film, which by all accounts was no Star Wars.
First time's the best for everything. After that, you know too much, and nothing's ever quite the same.
Though the Jaws franchise began with a roar, its success giving birth to the very concept of a summer blockbuster, the series ended on a whimper in 1987 thanks to this embarrassing final installment, which holds a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Of the film, Kane boldly once stated, quote, "I have never seen it, but by all accounts, it is terrible. However, I have seen the house that it built, and it is terrific."
Bloody hell. Get us started double time. The breath on that thing.
Number 16, Hugh Grant, 9 months.
I remember that.
Seriously?
What? My water broke.
But we'll get you another.
No, my water broke.
It wasn't the movie itself or the working experience that made Hugh Grant regret this role. He played a character perfectly in his rom-com wheelhouse as a man-child who's forced to settle down when he gets his dream woman pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
What?
Jeez, watch out!
So what's the problem? Grant regrets having done the movie because it was a 20th Century Fox film, a company owned by media mogul Rupert Murdoch.
Well, thank you, commie bastard! Shut up, you lying bitch!
After the News of the World newspaper scandal in 2011, in which the Murdoch-owned newspaper was accused of phone hacking and other shady practices, Grant wanted nothing to do with Murdoch's businesses ever again. So far, he's stuck to his morals.
Well, it's nice, and...
Yeah. Rupert Murdoch. And now, Fox's run. I'm sorry, now I'm reminding myself that Fox is now owned by Disney. And the Bob Chapek thing, it's like, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for saying this, but it's like, ever since Bob Iger left, it's like, it just went worse the moment Chapek came into the chair, and fine, here's a good example. After Chapek joined Disney, Gina Carano was fired from The Mandalorian. Scarlett Johansson has now severed her ties with Disney, thus canceling the Tower of Terror movie, which I was excited for that, and then the whole thing came out, and Disney refused to comply. I don't wish bad things to happen, but I want Bob Chapek to get into a terrible car accident, and I want his whole body to burn. I want Bob Chapek to burn in the 9th circle of hell. He deserves to go to hell for his crimes, for what he's done with Disney, for how he treated Gina Carano and Scarlett Johansson. I stand with Gina Carano and I stand with Scarlett Johansson. Alright? And if you, the audience, disagrees with me, then piss off.
I think you're great.
Marry me, Captain Ronaldo.
Number 15, Sam Worthington, Clash of the Titans.
Is that true? Am I the son of Zeus?
In the lead up to the sequel, Sam Worthington got candid about the first film, acknowledging that, box office performance aside, it, quote, kind of let down some people. In 2012, he went further into detail, saying that he wasn't happy with what he did on the movie, that he failed to deliver a character, and instead turned in a performance as the, quote, generic bland action dude. In fact, he went so far as to compare himself to a Barbie doll.
I'd rather die in the mud with those men than live forever as a god.
Not just criticizing himself, however, Worthington indicted all parties involved, challenging both himself and the crew to try to make a better film with Wrath of the Titans.
What are you waiting for?
Number 14, Halle Berry, Catwoman. With X-Men, Halle Berry proved that superhero roles are in her wheelhouse.
You know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
So when Catwoman came around, she saw it as an opportunity to further prove to the world that women of color can be superheroes.
You're under arrest.
As she told Variety in 2020, however, there were a few red flags early on. Namely, why can't Catwoman save the world like Batman and Superman do? Why is she just saving women from a face cream that cracks their face off?
How does she know all this? Who is she anyway?
Unable to answer those questions, the movie would eventually go down as one of the worst of all time. Halle Berry ended up winning a Razzie for her performance, and
I remember she went out with her Oscar in hand and accepted the Razzie and made fun of the movie. It was like that's like the epitome of troll humor, in my opinion. Like Halle Berry. Also, hi Halle. I'm kidding. I'm sorry if I see Halle Berry. I'm mesmerized by Halle Berry. Like she is like in her 50s, and she can't age, and she looks just as beautiful as ever. I'm thinking of the scene from Swordfish. To quote Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert said this when Ebert and Roper were talking about this awful film. He said, "There are only three good things in this movie: Halle Berry's face, Halle Berry's body, Halle Berry's costume. Everything in this movie is unbelievably bad." Like knowing that, it's like Roger Ebert was a man of culture. Roger Ebert had great taste in women, and I think he kind of admits like he was attracted to Halle Berry. Is like, yeah, I remember that. Is like the only good thing is that yeah, Halle Berry's face, Halle Berry's body, Halle Berry's costume, everything. It's like Ebert really did have a great taste in women. I remember when Doug Walker reviewed Catwoman, like he had Malcolm as Halle Berry Catwoman, saying you made fun of my movie. And that was the one part of the video I was like, Doug did know she publicly has expressed her dislike. You know what? I'm gonna give it. It's Doug Walker overall. Doug Walker, he might have had an education. I guarantee it, but he's not the smart. Just because someone has an education doesn't mean they're the smartest person in the room. Me, for example, I graduated high school. I'm still not going to be the smartest person in the room. I could say I have a degree in UCLA. I'm still not going to be the smartest person in the room because there are certain details, and because I look too much into the nitty gritty, I know more details than most people. So, damn it, this is what it's like to be a know it all. This is what it's like to be rejected by society. I need a moment of silence. Moment of silence gone.
Gave a special shout out to the team at Warner Brothers in her acceptance speech.
First of all, I want to thank Warner Brothers. Thank you for putting me in a god-awful movie.
Number 13, Sean Connery, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
No. Yep, this one as well was another famous one. From what I understand, Sean Connery only did this film because I think he regretted turning down Lord of the Rings. I think it's really in his later years more people started noticing that Connery. What really went wrong with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was the studio interference. Because this film was so bad, Stephen Norrington gave up. He did not want to direct movies anymore. Like, Stephen Norrington hates this movie because I think Stephen Norrington had a completely different vision for it. But since this movie was made during the Tom Rothman era, the Tom Rothman era is probably the worst era of Fox because Tom Rothman went in, took the filmmaker's original visions and like stripped it down. Tom Rothman, cut down Ridley Scott's original 3-hour cut of Kingdom of Heaven and gave us the jumbled 2-hour mess that didn't make any sense. He's the one who cut down Daredevil because he wanted it to be more accessible to children. He cut down the budget for the first X-Men movie. He did a lot of things that I do not want to get into. That's what I'm talking about being a know-it-all is because most people blame this, but it's like in the case of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, there's a good reason. Tom Rothman ruined everything. Just like Bob Chapek, I hope Tom Rothman disappears from the face of Hollywood. I hope. Although the only good thing Tom Rothman ever did was, at least acknowledge that, Greta Gerwig should have been nominated for Best Director for Little Women, for her version of Little Women, because that was a crime. I think she wasn't nominated. Let me see. I'm gonna type. Was Greta Gerwig ever nominated for Best Director for her work on Little Women?
According to Vox, on Monday morning, Greta Gerwig's Little Women was nominated for the 2020 Oscar for Best Picture. It also racked up 5 other nominations.
Yep. Yeah, Tom Rothman and Amy Pascal, another person who in Hollywood who I do not like. At least that was the only good thing Tom Rothman ever did was like, not nominating Greta Gerwig was a disgrace because I really enjoyed the New Little Women. Granted, I'm personally more fond of the 1994 movie, but it was still a great adaptation. Plus, I love Florence Pugh, so
Would you like to learn how to shoot?
A lot of time and energy goes into making a film, so we can only imagine the disappointment of producing a dud. But Connery wasn't off to a good start with LXG. He apparently only took the role as Alan Quartermain because, having recently turned down roles in both the Lord of the Rings and the Matrix movies, he wasn't going to miss out on another success just because he, quote, didn't understand it.
God, I hate getting old.
He was then rather candid about the on-set fights between him and the director, which reportedly verged on physical violence. When asked about the director's absence at the opening party, he said, quote, check the local asylum, and then abandoned acting altogether.
They're indestructible!
No, just armor-plated.
Number 12. Katherine Heigl, Knocked Up.
I'm pregnant.
hey, this is the one that I think officially blacklisted and proved Katherine Heigl as a hypocrite. I remember that scene from The Ugly Truth. Not a good movie, by the way. I don't know. I haven't really seen it in a while. I do only remember that scene though, where she's got a vibrator, and they're in a restaurant. She's in a restaurant with Gerard Butler, and they're talking to some big shot CEOs. Or I can't remember what it was, but the kid grabs it. A kid grabs this thing that operates she's wearing a vibrator, and the kid keeps operating it, and she's just is like this. Yeah, Knocked Up portrayed me as a sexist woman. You did The Ugly Truth. You do not. This is what I think officially blacklisted Katherine Heigl overall. Because after that, it was also revealed that she was very difficult to work with on Grey's Anatomy. And her character was essentially written out of the show. Essentially, Grey's Anatomy has, drowned out in terms of. It was after they killed off Derek that I just officially canceled the series for me. It was like, sorry. Bye, Grey's Anatomy. You were fun while you lasted, but. Yeah.
Goff.
What?
What?
I'm pregnant?
With emotion?
With a baby.
Perhaps one of the most public feuds in recent times between a movie and an actor, Katherine Heigl made waves when she called out Knocked Up for what she saw as its sexist stereotypes.
I love your curly hair. Do you use product?
No, I use Jew, it's called.
She went on to say that her character was portrayed as a bitch, and the women in it were painted as shrews, as humorless and uptight.
And just because I'm pregnant, I'm not some ruined woman and all romance goes out the door.
Director Judd Apatow and co-star Seth Rogen did not stay quiet, and both have defended the movie over the years.
If anything, the movie is about what idiots guys are and how it drives women crazy.
The feud has...
Although lots of people really hate Judd Apatow. I guess it's because his films, I think, are unfortunately marketed as harder comedies, when in fact they're mostly comedy dramas. So, King of Staten Island is a good example. It was a comedy drama. And that was a great movie. I loved The King of Staten Island. I think it might be Judd Apatow's best film, in my opinion. But yeah, Knocked Up is a great film, in my opinion. So, suck it, Katherine Heigl. And no offense, I love women, but sometimes, I'm gonna shut up.
Has not been easy on Heigl, who's had difficulty landing big roles in Hollywood since. Number 11, Channing Tatum, G.I. Joe, The Rise of the Cobra.
When you move him, she's gonna come after you. You know that, right?
the movie industry is not an easy business to succeed in. Before your big break, when opportunity comes knocking, it can be very tempting to sign multi-film deals with studios, because hey, at that point you can't imagine a world where you'd turn down roles. Like so many of his peers, however, early career contracts would come back to haunt Tatum when he was forced to do this Hasbro adaptation.
I'm going to make you very unhappy. I'm already unhappy.
Not only Channing Tatum who hated working on. I mean, G.I. Joe for me, this one is a guilty pleasure. Well, I guess the first two are huge guilty pleasures for me. I liked the new one to a degree. But back to this, I also know Christopher Eccleston also came out and said he hated working on this. Not only this movie, but Thor: The Dark World. I think he said because originally it was not Christopher Eccleston who was going to be Destro. It was originally the actor who played the Descendant in the beginning of the movie, the actor David Murray. But since that actor had visa issues with the United States, they had to kind of let him go from the movie, and they had to replace him. Plus, this film was done during the Writers Guild of America strike, the absolute worst time for movies to be written in Hollywood, because you legit could not have members of the Writers Guild of America writing on a movie. So you had to rush almost every movie through production. I know Michael Bay's not a thinking man's director, but he actually stated he hated working on the Transformers sequels, most particularly the second one, because of the rushed production schedule. It comes to show you how many problems there are in Hollywood. It is baffling and, in my opinion, insulting. But yeah.
When speaking with Howard Stern, he told the radio host, quote, "I f***ing hate that movie." Well, no ambiguity there. Though he clearly resents having been forced into the role, he admits that it helped his career, and the studio could have given him far worse films.
Move and I'm going to blow her away.
Do it. Number 10. Sandra Bullock. Speed.
This one, for me, was because the first Speed movie is a great film. I think this movie could have been better if it was another Die Hard knockoff instead of a Speed sequel. But no, there had to be a sequel. Although I will admit, the only good thing about Speed 2 Cruise Control is that the effects are good. Kind of like Space Jam: A New Legacy. The animation is great, but the entire movie is a piece of crap. But I hate Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Speed 2 Cruise Control.
I swear I am never leaving the house again.
She's Hollywood royalty, so it seems like Sandra Bullock can do nothing wrong.
You don't even work on this ship!
She did Miss Congeniality too. And I love the first one. Hate the second one.
I've been in worse situations than this, so panicking does not help, trust me.
She's made us laugh with Miss Congeniality and made us cry in Gravity, but even Sandra's had a misstep or two along the way.
Oh, let's take a wrench and dump it into the engine and bust a transmission like a car, because I've done that.
During an interview in which she was asked about a sequel to the 2013 hit The Heat, Bullock was quick to say, "No way."
Unbelievable.
She told reporters, quote, "I've done 2 sequels. They were horrible."
You know what? I don't know about sequels. I just don't know about them. Mine have not done well.
It's easy to understand why she's not proud of Speed 2, though. Aside from the fact that, it was on a boat and was missing Keanu Reeves, it holds a very low Rotten Tomatoes score at just 3%.
I'm okay.
You're not okay.
Another interesting thing is the 3% is interesting because Siskel and Ebert literally gave this 2 thumbs up. I am not kidding you. There is literally evidence of this on YouTube. Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, the most respected critics of all time, actually thought this was a decent film. They're the only 3 and then I think it was Joel Siegel from Good Morning America, but they're the only 3 critics that actually thought this was decent, which, hey, they have their guilty pleasures. I don't care, but it's irony. They did not like the movie Twister, which is a far superior film. Yeah.
Okay, stop saying that.
Number 9. Bob Hoskins. Super Mario Brothers. He was a highly respected actor, so Bob Hoskins didn't feel the need to be coy about his dislike for working on this film.
Shut up!
Now, what's with this rock?
When talking to the newspaper The Guardian, a journalist asked him about any career lows, and he replied, quote, "It was a nightmare." He credits the unpleasant working conditions to the married directors, Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel, who he said had their, quote, "arrogance mistaken for talent."
This is crazy. We went under the river, but this can't be Manhattan.
After a few hellish weeks of production, quote, "their own agent told them to get off set."
Got it. Let's get out of here. Let's hit the bridge.
Hoskins apparently made it through getting hammered throughout production with his co-star John Leguizamo. Yikes. It ultimately earned a measly 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, and was basically critically panned across the board. So can you blame him?
Yeah, this movie had such a troubled production because I think originally Harold Ramis was going to direct it, and Harold Ramis was a fan of the games, but Disney did not want it. This is when Disney had Hollywood Pictures. And yeah, from what I know, Bob Hoskins only did this film because his son wanted him to do it. Damn, it's. I do know there's like a supposed. I do know there's the extended cut. There's an extended cut of this that's on archive.com. I might check it out. Would you guys want me to check that out? I know I wouldn't. I would have to do it, unfortunately. This movie is interesting for all the wrong reasons, because the amount of people involved with this is like. Oh, God. I shouldn't talk much anymore.
Strap your belt on, kid. We're going in.
Number 8. George Clooney, Batman and Robin.
This is why Superman works alone.
George Clooney may be Hollywood royalty, but there's a dark spot in his past. His turn as Batman.
Yes, it's my rules. My rules that keep us alive, and if you want to stay in this house and on this team, you will abide by them.
This is no partnership.
Playing a superhero is pretty much the best thing that can happen to an actor's career, and Clooney did benefit from the name recognition the role gave him, but that's about it.
Nice catch!
You break it, you buy it.
I think this was during the ER days. This is when he was more known for ER. And, Clooney wasn't a big name at the time, but, I guess, yeah. Granted, this is also the 90s, and 90s comic book movies are an interesting entity.
Over the years, he's been known to joke about his work as the Caped Crusader, even saying that he thought they, quote, might have killed the franchise.
I have to say that I actually thought I destroyed the franchise until they brought it back. Somebody else brought it back years later and changed it. But, I thought at the time this was going to be a very good career move. It wasn't.
Luckily for us, that was not the case, though its successful revival wouldn't be until 2005 when Christopher Nolan rebooted the series.
Where are you?
Here. Number 6.
From what I understand, even Joel Schumacher hated working on Batman and Robin, because from what I understand, I think Schumacher wanted to do a more darker, because you think of the movies that he had been doing up to that point. He had done Falling Down and The Client, essentially. And also A Time to Kill, which could work. From what I know, Schumacher wanted to do a year one adaptation, but, he kept getting notes from Warner Brothers. And I think if you view Batman and Robin as more of a middle finger to Warner Brothers, I think it's more enjoyable. It's like, you wanted it to be a toy commercial. This is what you get. This is what you get, Warner Brothers. Now I'm going to direct something better. It's called Tigerland. And Phone Booth. An 8mm, too. I'm going to say it. I miss Joel Schumacher. Not everyone might have liked him, but I think he's done more good movies than bad. Because it depends. I'm not like everyone else. I have issues. It's kind of like, same thing I said. Like, Spider-Man 3 is also a good example of Sam Raimi essentially giving the middle finger to the studio. Is like, you wanted this to happen? more like a big middle finger movie. So it's like, yeah. Oh, the Jim Carrey Kick-Ass 2 one. Honestly, I understand, but I remember that after Jim Carrey did this movie, he did Dumb and Dumber 2, and then he decided to take a step back, and then he later did a Showtime show called Kidding, if I'm not mistaken. I heard it's good. He only really made a comeback with Sonic the Hedgehog. So, yeah, but I remembered after Jim Carrey tweeted out that he was disowning Kick-Ass 2, Hollywood essentially, blacklisted him, which, for me, the real issue with Kick-Ass 2 was how I think it's just not as good as the first one. Kick-Ass 2, in my opinion, is not good. It was because the first one was something really great, really funny, even, and then the the second one, it was so different in turn. It wasn't as good. Also, I'm just gonna say it. Jeff Wadlow is not a good director, in my opinion. I can't think of one movie he's made that has been considered "quote unquote" good. Oh.
7. Jim Carrey, Kick-Ass 2.
Catch the strays. Oh, and try to have fun. Otherwise, what's the point?
Sometimes current events can affect the way an artist feels about his.
Yeah, I remember this came out during the Sandy Hook shoot after the Sandy Hook thing. Tragic. Tragic.
His or her work, and that was the case with Jim Carrey's feelings towards this picture.
Nice party. Anybody want to dance?
When he should have been promoting the film, Carrey tweeted, quote, "I did Kick-Ass 2 a month before Sandy Hook, and now in all good conscience, I cannot support that level of violence." He went on to say that he wasn't ashamed of the movie or his work in it by any means, but the incident at Sandy Hook Elementary that killed 28 in total caused him to rethink the portrayal of such heavy violence in film.
You shouldn't talk with your mouth full. It's very rude.
Number 6. Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
I know you're freaking out. Don't freak out. Don't freak out.
Michael Bay's Transformers franchise might go down in history as the film series with the biggest disconnect between box office success and critical reception. It's a financial juggernaut, but each installment has failed with critics. And any actor.
The first one is actually good. Yeah, if you separate the first Transformers film from the other 4 sequels, it's actually pretty good. It sucks because the first one really was actually good. But the second, every sequel tried doing the same thing over and over again, and they couldn't recapture what made the first one remotely good enough. Which sucks.
Actor who praises the films likely isn't telling the truth.
Wow.
The first movie was at least a fun ride, but when the second came out, even LaBeouf went on record to admit that they got lost, and that without relationships, it was, quote, just a bunch of robots fighting each other. Fox, for her part, said that, quote, people are well aware that this is not a movie about acting.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about your eye. You know what, but if you're a good boy, then I'm not going to twitch your other eye.
Number 5. Zac Efron, the High School Musical franchise.
Late for class.
Heartthrob Zac Efron upset millions of fans when he decided to put down the franchise that launched him into superstardom, or more specifically, his role in it.
I think it's because, as you grow as an actor, you want to, I guess you can it's like, there's so many actors who do a lot of things. I remember when Megan Fox looked back at one of the films that she had done before, I think it was Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, as I think is what the movie's called, and she was like making fun of it.
Speaking with Men's Journal, he expressed nothing but disdain for his teenage self, going so far as to say, quote, that guy, and that he wishes he could kick that guy's ass, with High School Musical being at the center of his regret. Though fans were pretty quick to pick up arms, you can't really blame the actor.
Did you ever let go? Did you ever not know?
High School Musical and its sequels were important to a lot of young people, but they were also rather cheesy, and don't exactly showcase Efron's best acting.
Once a wildcat.
This was the third one is the only one I ever truly saw in theaters, and I was like, Well, I'll watch it. It's the only one that's in theaters. And I really found myself enjoying this. I really do have issues. Shows you my taste in movies. My taste in movies is pretty average. There's no such thing as a good or bad taste in movies, in my opinion, because everyone's taste is going to be different. That's just the truth. But yeah, Zac Efron did a lot of better things, so I can understand why he would want to distance himself from the series.
Always a wildcat.
Number 4. Bill Murray, Garfield the movie.
I hate Mondays.
Bill Murray's involvement with this Garfield sequel can be chalked up to a case of mistaken identity.
What part of no don't you understand? The push off the chair? It's off. I don't want to play.
Even worse, this movie came out right after Bill Murray was nominated for an Oscar for his work in Lost Translation. And of course, he didn't win that year. It was Sean Penn. Personally, should have gone to Bill. That's just how I feel. I remember seeing that clip of Sean Penn winning that Oscar in 2004, and Bill Murray's clapping, but he's just like this. His mind is probably thinking, I did my best work in Lost Translation, and this is how the Academy treats me. The Academy does this to everybody. They will intentionally screw you over. This is why I'm angry with the Academy. I've distanced them. I've disowned them ever since they gave the Oscar to Anthony Hopkins instead of the late great Chadwick Boseman. I get it. Hopkins is a legend, but he already won an Oscar for Hannibal Lecter.
In a GQ magazine interview, Bill admitted that he thought the movie's screenwriter was Joel Cohen of the Coen brothers.
Nobody calls me Labeouf. You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
What he didn't know was that the movie was written by another Joel Cohen, with an H, and a writer who's made his career by writing family movies like Toy Story, Cheaper by the Dozen, and Daddy Day Camp.
Uh-oh.
He didn't back out of the movie once he realized his mistake, but suffered through recording his lines like a pro.
Mouse! No thanks, I'm full.
Well, he got the last laugh when he made a joke about it in Zombieland.
So do you have any regrets?
Garfield, maybe?
Murray did go on to appear in the sequel.
I think it's because Murray accidentally signed a contract to star in a sequel, so he was contractually obligated to show up. So it was like, I imagine every day Bill Murray would show up to work with, cigarette pack filled with, joints, weed, obviously, and like, I don't know, a cup with some, he'd just drink on set. And the recording was like, Bill, are you drinking? No, it's apple juice, I promise. Okay. Then when the janitor's there cleaning stuff in the recording booth, he's like, why does it smell like whiskey? Hey, that's probably how it happened, I assume. In fact, there's only a bit of footage you could see of Bill Murray recording, ADR for the movie. Which it is on the special edition. It shows you how much Bill Murray hated this, that he wanted to distance himself from it. Oh, God. There is a snippet of footage of Bill Murray, of like B-roll footage of Bill Murray recording his lines. There's like a small snippet. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but if it is, send me the link.
We gotta put an end to this torture.
Number 3, Alec Guinness, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope.
This one is insulting to me. Oh, God. Okay. Here's something interesting. Leonard Nimoy has had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Spock. Because I think it was like right after the original Star Trek series ended, he had a bit of an alcohol problem. and then he did the movies. And there are many drafts, even of the Next Generation films, where they wanted to bring back Spock, but Leonard Nimoy just did not want to be there. Like, he even wrote 2 books. He wrote I Am Not Spock, and then later he wrote I Am Spock. It was only really with the reboot series, for me, the best original actor appearance in a reboot, where, Nimoy actually did it because I think Nimoy was a friend of J.J. Abrams' parents. So, he read the script and he thought, I'll be back. At least Leonard Nimoy did not tell a fan to grow up. At least he did not ruin someone's childhood. Don't get me wrong, Alec Guinness is a great actor, but if I did a movie I was not proud of, I would have just shut up like a pro, give the kid an autograph. Not say, fine, I'll sign it, but you should never watch that again. It shows you how sometimes so many people in Hollywood are actually dicks. Gotta check how I'm 50 minutes max recording this. 50 minutes. I mean, this is a long. It's a top 20 video, and I've been just talking nonstop. Oh dear Lord, I've been recording this for over an hour. Oh God. This is why I gotta stop doing recordings for a little while.
Hello there. To be fair, while Sir Alec Guinness was dismissive of Star Wars, his dislike for the beloved space opera has been blown out of proportion, which is why he still makes the cut, but isn't higher than this. About seeing the film, he actually said,
A sort of wonderful freshness about it, a kind of like a wonderful fresh air.
With time, however, and enduring popularity, it seems that he grew resentful of the movie, which, despite an impressive career, had come to overshadow his other works. Years later, he would, to use his own words, quote, shrivel inside each time it was mentioned. Letters written during filming have also surfaced, in which he referred to it as, quote, fairy tale rubbish.
You must learn the ways of the Force, if you're to come with me to Alderaan.
Number 2, Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I disappoint you?
If at first you don't succeed, try again. It's a lesson that Ryan Reynolds clearly internalized. It took numerous poorly received comic book adaptations before Reynolds finally hit a home run with Deadpool.
Oh, hello.
First came Blade Trinity, which, despite a poor reception, Reynolds credits with helping his career. Then came the painful proto-Deadpool of X-Men Origins Wolverine, which he later described as a frustrating experience, and doomed from the start. Green Lantern has gotten the worst of it, however, with the star himself only giving it a, quote, 3 or 4 out of 10, and calling it a victim of the Hollywood process. Thankfully, the charming star is a good sport about all these past missteps.
Beware my power. Green Lantern's
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Robert Pattinson, The Twilight Franchise.
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
You might
The Spider Monkey one. Okay, here's the thing. The only time I ever actually did see at least snippets of Twilight was the first 45 minutes. I think it's up until the point where Bella does find out that Edward is his name, right? Edward, yeah, is a vampire. And then I only saw like the last scene of like Breaking Dawn Part 2, where it was like it went on to be this big fight, and then it turns out it was just, well, it was nothing. None of that counts. Aside from that, the only times I've ever seen snippets of Twilight is if someone makes fun of it. Twilight is that movie that friends get together and have to make fun of it.
might not notice it from his performance in this franchise, but Robert Pattinson is a more than talented actor. One need just look at his work in The Lost City of Z, Good Time, or The Lighthouse to appreciate his.
Yeah, Lost City of Zed, Good Time, and The Lighthouse. All better films than what, at least his career got better after this. Although, from what I know, Robert Pattinson is very difficult to work with. I've heard that Taylor Lautner is actually pretty nice in real life and is actually a skilled martial artist. But unfortunately, Taylor Lautner just does not have any good acting skills. I'm sorry.
His acting skills. Unfortunately, they're notably absent in The Teenage Tale of Vampires, Werewolves, and Love, of which its male star has made no secret of his deep hatred.
Can't trust vampires. Trust me.
Pattinson has trashed the series on too many occasions to count. He's joked about wanting his dignity back, admitted to disliking the script, and has waxed poetic about the problems with his character.
The only good thing in this movie, in my honest opinion, is seeing Anna Kendrick in the first one. Because and the only good thing to come out of these movies is Anna Kendrick, and I love Anna Kendrick. Everyone loves Anna Kendrick. That's no secret.
Character, Edward, as well as the general plot.
There's a lot of stuff in the Twilight world that doesn't make any sense.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Well, I think that says it all. So many times where I've veered off in entirely different directions. I spent a whole hour recording this. Well, I say a whole hour because the internet went quickly on the fritz and then it came back. Thank God I had a game of solitaire to play. But yeah. I'm leaving a like. This was. I don't really have much to say other than I think everything that's been said has already been said. So this was WatchMojo.com's top 20 actors who hate their own movies. I'll leave a link to the original video down below. Probably by Friday, I'll upload this video because this is a damn long video. And look, I've wasted like most of my battery life recording this. Half of my battery life on my I'm recording this off a laptop through OBS. Not easy to record when you have videos this dense. To the point where I'm just like the image is stopped and you only hear my voice. Yeah, I'll leave a link to both the original video and a link to WatchMojo.com and a link to my Instagram. Thank you as always for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you do subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified for if I do a new video. Can't guarantee that I'll do any in September or October. I feel like September and October I'm gonna like take a bit of a step back from recording videos because recording videos is very hard. Trust me, especially with so many problems I have to handle. But leave recommendations down below if you want. Good night, everybody. God bless.